What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall market. I want to talk about some key levels to watch for as time goes on, as we're seeing Tesla once again being sandwiched between these EMAs. And we also have lots of big news coming out that could cause a lot of volatility. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, looking at the Tesla share price, we did get a bearish daily close, at least yesterday. There's going to be a risk of Tesla coming down just a little bit more as we come very close to that 340 area. We have to see if Tesla could bounce around there. That's going to be where we have this support. Right now, we're kind of sandwiched in the pre-market between 347 and 342. So we're kind of trading sideways here. We could retest like 342 to 340. We'll have to see if we bounce off this, if we can make a higher low to see this thing bounce. So that's the real question that's coming out. There's very, very mixed news this morning as well that's affecting us. So please keep that in mind as well. So what's going on with Tesla? Are we about to see a break past the 350s, or are we going to pull back just a bit first before we see some kind of bounce? I'll give you guys more answers in just a second. I first want to talk about this. Some news came out that the German sales are down. Tesla sold about, whoops, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. They sold about 1,210 cars in Germany in May. That's down 36.2% from a year earlier. Not the best of news, at least so far, despite the fact that the newly registered EVs increased by 44.9%. The sales for Tesla in particular are kind of weak in Germany, so not the best of news. Also, when it comes to the other markets, we saw for the fifth straight month in Britain, Germany, and Italy, in the month of May, we saw Tesla sales once again decline. So we're seeing them declining in lots of European countries. In Norway, the sales did go up quite a bit. They're up substantially, but in the other areas, from the UK to Germany to Italy to Spain, Portugal, and many other countries, we are seeing the overall sales decreasing. So that's so far what's happened in April and May, but hopefully we get a very, very strong comeback in June. I still have hope for that, but as of right now, it's still not the best of news. Elon Musk did say that in Europe right now, it's one of their weakest markets, especially because of political tensions. But he assured us it's just going to be a temporary thing. They will make a strong comeback. Tesla's also trying to incentivize more sales in China with lots of different programs. Tesla's also down about 28% from its all-time high close. And as we get very close to this exciting Robotaxi launch, the question is, can we see us get closer to those highs, or at least get closer to $400? And there still is a lot of potential for this because of what we've seen in previous events. And I just wanted to say that for now, there's been a lot of talk about how there's going to be a lot of strength that's going to be coming out the closer we get to this. So we're going to see if Tesla could get to those high levels we're waiting for. As soon as we get this like launch from the Robotaxi, we'll see what the effect happens to be. There's still a lot of hype about that. Now, today, however, is going to be Wednesday, June 4th, and we want to take this one step at a time. At 9:45 a.m., we have the S&P Global Composite and Services PMIs, so expect some volatility then, and expect more volatility at 10 a.m. as we have the ISM Services data for prices, new orders, and employment. Now, prices is going to be very important to look at inflationary data. New orders tells us more about what's happening with supply and demand. So get ready for some volatility at 10 a.m. We also have the Fed Beige Book at 2 p.m., so that could also be impactful. When it comes to news, I'm not seeing a whole lot that's coming out, but there has been some talk about what Elon Musk has been saying, as he's not really happy about, the very, very big spending bill that is once again going to potentially increase the governmental debt. So he's not really in support of that. So that's what Musk has said in his X page. So keep that in mind. Besides that, there's been some more news about, how we saw many of these chip makers like Broadcom trying to push quite a bit after earnings. And simultaneously, you have news about how many of the semiconductor tariffs have been delayed. So it's been a lot of good news. Besides that, we're actually seeing, Dollar General raising their full guidance, which is good news for them. And overall, not too bad. Now, when it comes to President Trump, he's saying things that are optimistic, which is good for the markets, such as the fact that he believes because of tariffs, our economy is booming. You could argue he's right or wrong, whatever you guys want to say, but this is what he is saying. He also said that he likes President Xi of China, always have and always will, but he is very tough and extremely hard to make a deal with. So President Trump is he's open to making a deal with China, but he's saying it's very difficult. Then he I think he said that. He also said a couple of other things about how he wants to see more of these deals. Today, he increased the overall tariffs on aluminum and steel to 50% that are now being imposed. And that, we'll see how that affects things. As of right now, that's just something that's worth noting. So President Trump is increasing some tariffs, but he's also saying that he wants a lot of deals with more countries, especially India. They're looking to see if we could get a deal before the July 9th deadline. So that being said, we're going to see what happens as time goes on, right? This is what the earnings calendar looks like, and we'll just see how things end up going. So with that being said, what do I see for Tesla? Anyways, I just wanted to say that depending on how you look at this, could you argue there's a head and shoulders? Maybe, but I don't think there's confirmation of us losing 340 yet to go all the way back down here. We're going to be watching one support at a time. So we first have this 342 area. If that fails us, we're looking for essentially 340. I do think we might be dipping a little bit to test that range, especially since the German sales are down. Might be a small dip on Tesla to the lower 340s. So we have to bounce near 340 to get back up towards 345 plus. So look for a little bit of a downside move. We'll see if we get a bounce or not, at least from here. On the SPY charts, and by the way, about Tesla, I forgot to mention this. What I want to see is, can we make a higher low? So even if we come down like this, right, we have this bottom over here, we came up. Even if we dip a little bit to like 340 or so, can we establish a higher low and start bouncing again? I'll be watching that to see if we are still making higher lows looking at this trend, or do we end up losing 337 to start dipping back down to the lows? I'll be watching this very closely to see if we make a higher low and some sort of rebound. For SPY, we're making higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. If we see SPY lose, okay, this 594 area, we're going to be at risk of dipping to 592, all the way back down towards these lows. As long as we hold 592, though, we could attempt to rebound for 598. And if that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to break out for like the 600s. So keep that in mind as time goes on. Don't forget at 10 a.m., we have the ISM services data, which will be affecting us. So that's going to be a very, very big catalyst. But I want to see if SPY can hold above 594. As long as we hold above this, we're going to be looking for 598 to the 600s as our potential targets. So we'll see how well we hold up. On the QQQ, we have a double top like structure. If we end up losing 523, we're looking for a dump. But as long as we're above 525, we're looking for a retest of 528. If that breaks, we're looking for the 530s for a nice move right back up. On the IWM, we're doing a good job at holding up. We might be retesting 208. We have to hold 208s to bounce for 211. If we lose 208, we're looking for 206. You want to be very careful here. We need to bounce off 208 flats to get back up there, so keep that in mind. On ES, we still look bullish, nice looking inverse head and shoulders like structure. We actually came very close to 6,000 already, so we're going to see if we can continue to go higher. I want to see us hold 59.75 or 59.50. We might retest 59.75 to 59.50, and then we'll see if we bounce or breaking past the 6,000s. If we lose 59.50, we're looking for a bigger dump back down to low 5900s, but I want to see us bounce off 59.50 to rebound. We might come down a little bit closer to like 59.75 to 59.50, and then we'll see how this data affects us. Can we get some kind of bounce to continue, or do we lose 59.50 to start dumping? I want to see if we could break out from here, forming this like cup and handle. We need to break 6,000. We might dip first, and if we could bounce and break 6,000, we will remain bullish, but we need confirmation first. On NQ, you want to see us hold above 21,800 to start breaking out higher. If we lose 21,600, we're looking for a dump back down to 21,500. This is also forming kind of like a cup and handles. So we'll see how this goes, right? We could be dipping to 21,600. Then we'll see if we break out like this. So give this the time it needs. For Bitcoin, we're making higher lows. As long as we hold 105,000, we're looking for a rebound move to 106,000 plus. If we lose this, we could be dumping back down. So we'll see if we continue to make higher lows here. So you want to take like a trend line like this. Our support's like all the way down here. We want to see if Bitcoin could bounce off this trend line and then continue to rebound like this. I'll be watching that very, very closely. On Tesla and Nvda, Tesla could be trying to base around 342 to 340, and we'll see if we get a nice bounce from here. If we get back above 352, we're looking for a nice breakout. On Nvidia, we're technically on an uptrend. I don't want to see it lose 140 to dump. As long as we're above 140, we could try to bounce again. On Apple, we're on an uptrend. As long as we don't lose 201, we're looking for a rebound for 204. And for a few more, we have AMD, which is technically on an uptrend as well. If we lose 116, we could dump back down to 114. As long as we hold 116, we could try to bounce, so keep that in mind. For Coinbase, we're also looking more bullish. We're going to be watching an inverse head and shoulders setup. We could be dipping to 253 and we have to bounce to turn back up. If we lose 253, we're looking for a dump. On Amazon, we're trading sideways. We want to break past 208. Meta might be retesting 666, and we need to bounce off that. If we lose 666, we're looking for a dump back down to 659. On Google, we're on a downtrend. We need to hold 167.5, or else we could be dipping to 165. So we'll see if we bounce. And Microsoft is technically on an uptrend. As long as you don't lose 462, we're favoring 465 as our target. Last but not least, the VIX is technically a little bit weak here, and we're going to see if it bounces or not. So as far as Tesla's going, look and see where we base. Can we make a higher low compared to this low right here? As long as we make a higher low, we're looking for a nice bounce on Tesla to get back up to the 350s. But we need to see where this base is at. Do we base at 342? Do we base at 340? It depends on this data at 10 a.m., so be prepared for some volatility. Anyways, thank you for listening, guys. Have a good one, and peace out.